Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video. I just wanted to say at the very beginning that the audio quality is not the best, despite my best efforts at trying to work out my microphone's kinks and the pop filter. But either way, I think I brought up some really good points about Parkasaurus in general, but also about other Tycoon games in the genre. So I hope you'll enjoy it. Please rate the video, that helps out a great deal. I don't really care if you like or dislike, it's not what it's all about. And I shall see you tomorrow with another one. Bye bye. Today's video we are going to be talking about communism and capitalism. No, really, you don't know this yet, you'll soon realize, but capitalism is why park management games are popular. Each tycoon type of game has two main elements which make it fun. One of these elements is what I like to call the management requirement of the park, and the other one is the park design element. Now, newer Tycoon games are heavily dependent on the design aspect. They make design very easy or not, but they are mainly about making the park of your dreams. It's mainly about being artistic over managing. But management is why the game is fun for a lot of people. Management is the right amount of management skill combined with interesting park design elements is why people go back to the 2003 game Zoo Tycoon 2 after 15 years, and why people still find new stuff to do in that game, new themes, and at the same time the game is still fun because it's difficult. Park management in a zoo type of game are of course about two things: managing the dinosaur needs or the animal needs. In Parkasaurus, to manage the dinosaur needs, first of all you create an exhibit, and you get that exhibit up to speed by creating a biome. Creating a biome is a very fun thing to do in this game, and I really like it. I much more prefer it over Zoo Tycoon 2, for instance. In Zoo Tycoon 2, and I'm going to be comparing the two games a lot, not just because that's a game that we play on this channel quite a lot, but also because I feel like Parkasaurus could implement some features from Zoo Tycoon 2 that would make the game insanely fun. In Zoo Tycoon 2, you don't really need to add trees and flowers and plants to your exhibits. You are not required to add more than one tree. And even then, you could just add the shelter and then be done with it. In Parkasaurus, you have to design a realistic exhibit, because each dinosaur has its own biome, and by using the right grass tool, combining that fact with, adding enough trees, enough rocks, enough plants, your dinosaurs will be happier because of it, because they live in a more realistic biome. Now, designing a biome is not easy in Parkasaurus, because you have to add the right type of grass, you have to add ruggedness and water and the right trees, but the tutorial at the very beginning of the game is very great at explaining this. And even though the tutorial doesn't explain properly that your dinosaurs need, for instance, tall grass or other objects, you can simply click on your dinosaur and you can see if it's not happy. It will give you a prompt, saying that it needs more privacy, it needs more this or that. It's a social animal, you need to add more stuff, and it changes these biome prompts, for instance, if the exhibit is too small. And let me tell you, in Parkasaurus you have to build huge exhibits. I mean, these dinosaurs take up a lot of space. Even though they only walk around 10% of the exhibit, they need huge exhibits. And now the other part of park management is about managing guests' needs. Each guest has, hunger, thirst, the very basic stuff, and each guest also likes to look at different decorations, similarly to Zoo Tycoon 2. Now in Parkasaurus, this might be because of the design of the game, but guests feel less realistic. They feel more like ants coming through your door, and sometimes give you money, sometimes they don't. You basically have to spam the entire park with food stuff and toilets and decorations, and this makes the game very repetitive, where instead of thinking, oh cool, I can add another cool dinosaur to my park, how awesome would that be if I added a T-Rex? No. You are thinking of designing another exhibit, which is the cool part, but then after the exhibit design is done, you have to add obviously a footpath, you have to spam the entire place with decorations and food and lights, lamps are important, you know, bins, and that's just not fun. It doesn't really add anything to the game, and I feel like even though you can get creative with it, after a while it's just repetitive. Now, I devised a very simple question that you can ask to evaluate a Tycoon game's management skill requirement. And the question is, can I leave the game running on its own whilst I go and sleep for 8 hours? Can I leave the game running for a certain amount of time? Because if you can, that means that the game doesn't have much management going on, and that is a problem. Now, of course, there is no Tycoon game that you can leave running for 8 hours, unless it's a sort of mobile app, but there isn't much management going on with Parkasaurus either. The vegetable and meat that you get delivered to your door, and that's pretty much it after a while. I recently talked about Parkasaurus on Reddit, and a person asked me whether he should get the game, and he told me that he likes Tycoon games with more management, and he feels like the new Tycoon games are about more, you know, art and design. And at the time I couldn't really tell him, because my park for my video series was around 2 or 3 hours old. And at the time I wanted to tell him that this game is about a lot of management, because at the very beginning it's sort of like a wave where you have a lot of money, you spend it, and you are dirt poor, and you have to actually, you know, go out and dig, and you only get the money at the end of the day, which kind of ruins the flow in a bit, in a way. But I thought that later in game, when you have a really big park, there's more management, because there's more dinosaurs and there's more guests. But unfortunately, I have a park which is around, I don't know, 10-20 hours of age, let's just call it that. And there isn't much to do. I'm just basically waiting around every day, and there's basically infinite money I'm generating, and I don't want to do anything else with it, because I have sort of every type of dinosaur. Staff members do everything for you. The tutorial is very clear on that you have to buy one of every staff at least. You have to buy one vet that takes care of your dinosaurs. It's just a weird name for zookeeper. You have to buy one janitor, which also repairs stuff, so he's like a handyman. Again, a really weird name. You have to buy one security guard that tranquilizes dinosaurs when they escape. And you have to buy at least one scientist that generates science points. Science points are sort of like talent. It's a talent tree where you unlock new buildings. There are no stars in the game. There's no star rating in a way. You just unlock new stuff using science points. And also, at the end of the day, you get hearts from happy dinos, which also encourages spamming dinosaurs. And hearts are used to unlock very important things like new fences and new dinosaurs. And whilst generating money has nothing to do with management, in another freakish way, money generation is the soul of management. Because if you don't have much money, if you don't make much money, sort of like in Zoo Tycoon 2, encourages you, it motivates you to no ends to have your management, you know, be on your A game basically. When money is hard to come by, and it's hard to build new parts to your zoo, every time you make a new exhibit and you put in that dinosaur or animal, you feel absolutely amazing, because you feel like you have accomplished something great. You feel like your hard work has finally paid off. And in a game like Zoo Tycoon 2, a lot of the times if you mess up, you cannot really come back very easily. Another example from Zoo Tycoon 2 is that the main way to generate money is from animal donations, and the most expensive thing in your park is going to be animal adoptions, Very importantly, your animals also die. Very expensive animals can die, not just when you mess up, but also when they die from, you know, an old age. And you have to really keep paying attention when an animal dies, so you can buy another male or female and you can keep the bloodline going. And the children of those animals cannot mate with the father and the mother very realistically. In Parkasaurus, as far as I'm concerned, right now your dinosaurs don't die out. Breeding will be available at a later iteration of the game. Now, ticket prices, when your guests enter your park, they don't seem to affect their moods in a way, because I'm charging $30 for a ticket, which is the maximum you can charge, and my guests are still seem to be happy. There's also a bug in the game where I named my park "Please Don't Enter," and guests still enter, so I'd like that also fixed, please. The main way to generate money, the best way to do that in any park management game, is investing your money. Where in Zoo Tycoon, if you have $5,500 and you have the option to buy an animal for $5,500, you should buy that animal as early as possible to get enough donations so you can get to, you know, the next step. Now, of course, you should really think about your actions. You should probably buy 2 animals so they can, you know, generate more animals. And this is self-explanatory, but in general, you should invest early so you can get the most investment out of your animals. Now, in Parkasaurus, there's digging, where around every 5 minutes you have the option to dig up dinosaur skeletons, and these are used to make dinosaurs. But you can also find coins, and that's a lot of money. The best way to make money in Parkasaurus, as far as I'm concerned in the early game, is to spam scientists until you get 4 scientists with a 3x3 square. What does 3x3 square mean? Well, when you go into the digging section, and at first I had a heart attack because I thought I had to play Minesweeper, but no, all you have to do is click on your scientist guys, and then they have a Tetris-like objects, and you can use that to dig. And you should spam your scientists until you get 4 scientists with a 3x3 square. Some scientists have just a line, others have an L shape, but those suck. Just get the 3x3 square, because it's very easy to complete digging then. And most of your money will come from digging anyways, because the cooldown on digging is just too damn short. And let me tell you, after about 3 or 4 times, you just don't want to dig anymore. The only time I ever find digging fun is when I unlock a new dinosaur and I have to actually dig for skeletons. But I feel like very good Tycoon games, they encourage you to micromanage everything. They encourage you to, for instance, dig every time it's off cooldown. Every 5 minutes you should dig, and then that's the best way to make money, because money is hard to come by. Now in Parkasaurus, because you basically generate infinite money, after a while you're just gonna stop digging, because you end up having infinite amount of dinosaur skeletons and infinite amount of money, for instance. Also, as far as I'm concerned, staff perks don't really affect anything. Now, every time you hire a staff member, and this is really cool, each of them have an ability, a speed, and a likability perk. And you know, speed is self-explanatory ability, and then they can, you know, talk to guests and they are more friendly or something like that. But they don't really affect the game in any way, or maybe I haven't noticed because I just don't care. You don't have to care. Scientist ability perk doesn't affect the digging whatsoever, which is why I say you should spam scientists until you get the 3x3 square for digging. I'd like to see this changed in the future, so that maybe, you know, digging, you have to pay for digging, or scientist abilities really affect the shape of the tool or something like that. Now, the best way I would describe the controls in Parkasaurus is it's giving me arthritis. You have to click on a lot of things just to be able to delete something. There are some shortcuts, but they are not great. A lot of the time selecting an object selects something completely different. One time I spent $10,000, which was a very large amount of money in the early game, on the science building to generate extra science. And even though it was nowhere close to the exhibit I was deleting the fence for, it deleted it, and I obviously didn't get the money, so I lost $10,000 and I was really angry. Deleting fences is a pain in the ass if the fence is behind something. For instance, if you watch my video series, you know that I'm a huge fan of really quirky exhibits. I like building sort of squares, kind of like in Minecraft, you know. I even have a tab open on my Google Chrome so I can check this right circle. But this game encourages very simple exhibits, and it punishes players for trying to be creative, which is not the right way of going about things, I think. It encourages people to just build squares. This one time I created a desert or grasslandy type of oviraptor exhibit because I thought that oviraptors lived in the desert. I thought this was common knowledge, but maybe my science dinosaur game is... maybe I am wrong and I need to increase my points in the science / dinosaur knowledge tree. But in this game, oviraptors live in a different biome. So what I had to actually do is redesign the whole exhibit, which was a pain in the ass. I had to remove all the water, I had to flatten the terrain, and the most annoying thing about this all is that trying to delete stuff, you cannot mass select an area to delete everything in. You have to click on each square one by one, and then after that you also have to click on the delete button, because unlike Zoo Tycoon 2, there is no revert button, which makes sense, and it makes sense where you have to click on the extra. Yes, I accept this deletion, but selecting targets is just very, very painful in this game, especially when you want to delete multiple objects. Another time this is extremely annoying is when your janitors bug out. Dinosaurs can escape from their exhibits and wreck your whole park up. More on that later. And your janitors just don't want to repair your decorations for whatever reason. So you have to delete the decorations. That's the fastest way of doing it, and then replacing them. Now, as I said, dinosaurs can escape from their exhibits, which seems to be really cool, but it's not. It's just a cheap trick. It's not a behavior. What happens is in their programming, they basically sense that they are not inside of an exhibit, and they start running around and they go towards all of your buildings. They home in on them like nuclear missiles and they destroy everything. And then your security rangers can tranquilize them, or in a recent update you can tranquilize your dinosaurs yourself. But this is not realistic. What I'd like to see is dinosaur behaviors, where every once in a while one dinosaur rampages, and that one dinosaur is the only one that's, you know, wrecking your park up. Security guards are not really needed in the game. As long as you have the best fences unlocked, your dinosaurs can never escape, because even though they damage the fences, your janitors will be always around to repair them. Security guards also cost around 7 times as much money to hire than janitors. The game has a free camera mode, or the basic camera mode is where you press Q or E and it rotates your camera by 90 degrees. It's always in a diagonal position, so designing exhibits is really annoying, especially when you want to design a shape or circle type exhibit. Free camera mode is nice, but I'd like to see it go further, zoom out further, because you have to design very, very huge exhibits, and the free camera mode is just useless in that regard because you cannot oversee the whole exhibit by one. It defeats the purpose of the free camera mode, I think. The game pauses at the end of every day, which is where you get all of your money, and you can read reviews. The problem is that this disrupts your train of thought and it disrupts the flow of the game. So many times I'm designing a very cool exhibit and the game pauses and I'm really annoyed because I was doing something, or maybe I was digging or managing something, as you obviously do in a park management game. Some of my suggestions are adding a circle plus a rectangle tool for exhibits. Some older park management games already have this, and it's kind of useful. It's even more useful in games like Parkasaurus, where it's very square-like. I'd like to see better selection, I like to see deletion tools that select a mass area instead of just one objects one by one. Now, this is already in the works. I think they are working on better selections already. I like to see the free camera mode having its distance increased, because obviously exhibits can be really huge and it would be nice to oversee that. I also have some other problems, some minor suggestions. The end of the day reviews are really nice. I really like that. The only problem is it's executed in a bad way, where sometimes you get a 2-star review and it says something like the park is clean. Well, let me tell you, when I give a 2-star review to anything, they better have killed my mother, because 2 stars is just nothing. Other times you get 4-star reviews that says something bad, so it's a bit fakey. It's very obvious as well that the reason why people give you bad reviews like 2 or 3 stars is because your park is not big enough, is because you don't have high quality dinosaurs, it's because you don't have enough dinosaurs. But that's not what they say in their 2 or 3-star review. Also, similarly to how the end of the day disrupts the flow of the game, normally when I want to read the reviews is throughout the day, when I'm actually designing the park, where, you know, I get error messages in Zoo Tycoon 2 that guests need more ATMs, they need more food stuff, they need more bathrooms, and I can, oh, it's the middle of the day, I can go and do that right now. I am around 80% sure that this end of the day is staying in the game, and I actually like that because it encourages people to work not for today but, you know, plan for tomorrow. You get also the science points and the heart points used to unlock new buildings and whatever at the end of the day instead of throughout the day. Heart points encourage the spamming of dinosaurs, because for every happy dinosaur, which is really easy to achieve by the way, you get 1 heart point, and you get more if they are super happy. Super happy dinosaurs generally have to have a big enough exhibit, but if you design very quirky exhibits like a giant circle that took you, 10 minutes to build, and you realize that, oh, I need more space, you are basically just shafted because you have to redesign the whole thing again. This also encourages rectangle exhibits. You need science points to unlock new buildings, and the best way to do that is to buy a lot of scientists. Upgrade your science building, but also have the little science exhibits, and very important to buy for $10,000 the building that generates science points from guests, but after a while you don't need this anymore. After a while you will unlock all heart stuff and you will unlock all science stuff. Now you might say, well, okay, after a while maybe you can convert science and hearts into money, but again, you make infinite money already, so that's not really needed either. Talents sometimes give perks, and this was reminiscent of mobile games to me. They give perks such as movement speed increase to guests, dinosaur view increase, stay time in park, etc. This was until I realized that guests only get these perks once they eat, I don't know, hot dogs, or maybe if they eat fiery tacos, their movement speed increases. And I actually really like this extra layer of strategy in the game, where maybe when your guests enter the park, you want to place the tacos there, or maybe you want to place tacos before a big pathway where there's not much stuff, so they can walk through that path, quickly. But these, movement speed increase, or you can unlock talents where guests just by default they give more donations to ankylosaurs or theropods. I think these should be combined, so that, for instance, after a guest eats meaty stuff like a burger or a hot dog, they give more donations, to a T-Rex or a Velociraptor. That would be really cool.
Who's hungry?
Just flatline increasing, movement speed or donations is not fun. It's not fun in any MMORPG when you have a talent that does that, and it's not fun in a park management game either. It's just something that everybody has to get, and it should be part of the game if everybody has to get it anyways. You can buy dinosaur hats, you unlock new hats, and you can buy them. At the very beginning of the game they cost a lot of money, so you don't want to buy them. I think hats should give different behaviors to dinosaurs. Maybe if you give, I don't know, a winter hat to a dinosaur, they are faster or happier in the winter time, because there are different seasons in the game. Maybe if you give a cool head to a theropod, it's gonna be more aggressive and then increase its donations given. Something like that would be really cool to see. But for that, as I said about the rampaging stuff, they have to actually implement the behaviors to dinosaurs, so it's not just, you know, dumb AI doing it. A very small thing, a lot of people will comment about this, so I'm just gonna say it. They should add new dinosaurs, new maps, new science and hard talents. They should rework those talents. They should give, you know, new dinosaur enrichment objects. But the reason why I don't want to talk about this is because it's obvious they are going to add new dinosaurs. It's obvious that they are going to add new maps. It's not even that hard to do, probably. Might be hard to do, but it's something that they will definitely add, so I don't want to talk about this a lot. I give Parkasaurus a 7 out of 10. Maybe it should be a 6 out of 10, but honestly, I think there's a lot of work with the management side of the game, as you can obviously tell by my review. This game has a high potential if they add new management options and they make generating money much harder, I feel like. Just by halving the amount of money you get in the game, you probably inspire and motivate people to play this game more. The art style of the game is cute, but at the same time they make fun of it by making dinosaurs with large eyes, so it's sort of self-aware. It's not so cutesy, but a little bit more stupid, and I like that. The game received very good exposure when the first alpha came out. This is another reason why it has a huge potential, is because people are actually buying the game and a lot of people are writing good reviews about it. The developers seem to be hardworking developers, at least for now. They release really nice updates for the game quickly, and there are these really cool ideas that I like to see more. One of them is, you know, lamps increase the stay time for guests in your park at night, which is really awesome. I talked about combining talent points with behaviors. I talked about combining these perks. I'd like to see more stuff like that. I like to see more clever and genius stuff like that, not just, you know, spamming decorations and whatnot. Maybe instead of just spamming decorations as a way to artificially increase the playtime that a player spends in the game and, you know, ruining the feel of the game, maybe again different decorations could instill different behavior in guests, where if you place a tree stump or flower pots next to herbivores, they will give more donations, or something silly like that would be interesting to see. And maybe decorations could also give a perk. But yeah, overall I enjoyed the first few hours I spent in Parkasaurus. I think it looks a little bit cute for me, but it's sort of self-aware. It's sort of interesting looking. I feel like it's a big selling point to the game. And as I told you, park management and money, I told you it's like capitalism and communism. I mean, who wants to build a zoo in a communist country? The hardships in life inspire people to work harder and to devise a better strategy. But of course, if it's too hard to make money, it sort of poisons the well, where everybody's a cutthroat in your economy and everybody just wants to build better parks. And it becomes a game where, oh, I have to put down the most efficient decorations and spam the most efficient dinosaurs to be able to make it through the day. And it shouldn't be like that. It's a nice balance of making just enough money so you can spend the money early, invest it, and then the next 5 minutes you will get more money than you got in the last 5 minutes. But you have to spend that money again, and you have to keep managing your park. Maybe the developers will work this difficulty into the main menu, where you can select your difficulty, and then on higher difficulties, maybe if it's even just artificial difficulty, like you get less money, it would probably make the game more fun to play. On higher difficulties, a game like Zoo Tycoon gives you a lot of money from quests and missions, and maybe they could add more missions, because right now I think there's only the hot dog and the balloon selling ones. I'd like if digging cost money maybe, and it had a higher cooldown, and also maybe if you could sell skeletons that you don't own to generate that extra money. Not even a game like Zoo Tycoon 2 does this, but it would be cool if you could also sell dinosaurs. You cannot sell animals in Zoo Tycoon 2 either. But I really liked how in the original Wildlife Park 1, the 2D Wildlife Park, because it was so hard to get money, you had to come up with interesting ideas. Like ostriches bred like crazy, so you could have a park where you bred a lot of ostriches and you sold them. You had to literally run a mill that generated ostriches and probably sold them for food or something, I don't know. I basically sold myself down the river, I sold my soul down the river to get money in that game, but that's what it should be about, you know, creativity and a mix of efficiency.
What brings you to visit lonely old one Sandy?